Okay, today we're going to look at Trapjaw. He's over here on our table. Down here, our Trapjaw is mostly present, except normally he has 3 different attachments for his hands, and ours doesn't have any. So we're going to go and design, CAD model one of them, the hook, and we're going to print it out, and at least he'll have a hook. So let's go and go into Fusion. I had found online, just through searching, an image of a hook. I think I actually found it on eBay. And so I downloaded that image just as a PNG file. And we're going to insert. So over here, there's insert canvas. And we're going to find that image. So I've got it saved on my computer. So insert from my computer. And there's the image. We're going to take that and open it. We're going to put it on one of these planes here. So I'm just going to, it doesn't particularly matter which one. I'm going to pick this one here. And we can go to the front here and you can kind of see the silhouette of the image. There it is. That looks fine. So, okay. Now we do need this to be scaled the right size. So if we open up our canvases over here, there's the Trapjaw hook. That's this picture from the internet. I will right click on it and there is calibrate. So I can use this calibrate button to pick some feature on here that I know the size of. Now since I don't have one of these, I don't actually know the size of any of things, except that I did measure the inside of the barrel where this hook is going to go, and it was 5.5 millimeters. So I'm going to zoom in right here to here, and that distance needs to be about 5.5 millimeters. So I'm just going to type in 5.5. I'll put the millimeters. I think I'm already in the metric units here, but I'll type in millimeters anyway. All right, so it zoomed way in. So now it's calibrated to where that, at least that one dimension, is the right size. Now what we need to do is we need to create this profile, and I'm going to do it in 2 different steps. One of them is going to be the cone, cylinder, and this cone here can be made with a revolve, and then the hook can be made with a sweep. So I'm going to create a sketch. So over here in the under the solid menu, there's create sketch. I'm going to create a sketch on that same canvas, or well, the plane that the canvas is on, and I'm going to zoom in pretty close because I'm going to try and trace around this thing with just first I'm going to create a line. I'm going to use something, I'm going to just try and line it up here. I'm holding down shift to make it horizontal. I'm going to use this line as a construction line. So I'm just going to right click on it, and over here there's normal / construction, or the X key. I could use that also. Why I want this is because now I can create a line at the very center of this thing. So you can kind of see how it gives me that triangle symbol telling me that I'm in the center of this line, which I put the endpoints of the line at kind of the edges of the picture, and so the center of it is right there. So I'll just draw, and I'll hold down shift so it's vertical, or it'll snap to vertical. And there I've got a line that I can use that's at the center of where this cylinder is. So what we're going to do is we're going to create half of this shape. I'm going to turn this into a construction line also. So right click. I could make it a center line, but we'll do that later. Now I've got a vertical center line, and I've got this other reference line over here that we can use later. Actually, we won't need that one. We'll need the vertical one. All right, so now we're just going to use lines. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm just kind of tracing. You can kind of tell that these are not hard corners. They're kind of rounded. Whoops. Kind of rounded. And we will deal with that later. So I'm just going to go there. I'm going to go something like that. And we'll do one kind of like that. And then we need to zoom out so we can see the bottom down here. We're going to do one kind of like that, and then one something like that. Okay, and we need one coming across the top up here. So let's create a line. So this little symbol over here is for line in the top left. And we'll make that one go out horizontal. All right, so now we need to make these the right length. That's where our little construction line here comes in. We'll just extend this out so that it crosses it. And now I can use my little trim function to just trim that one off. So if you hold down if you're on trim, you hold down the left mouse button and slide across that line, it'll cut it back to the nearest line that it intersects. So it'll cut it back right there. We need to do the same thing at the bottom also. So let's get out of trim and let's grab this line and drag it down to where it crosses. Now that you can kind of see there's an intersection, trim, and I can trim that guy off, and now I've got a line that ends right at the center. Okay, now I need this to be a solid profile, like a closed shape, so I need one more line. You can also hit the L key to create a line. Notice how it creates that little square when I'm at the end of the line. That'll make sure it snaps to the end of that horizontal line there. So there, and then we've got to get to there. And it kind of, you can tell it shaded it in. So it's saying that it's a closed shape. I'm moving around. So zooming in and out is the middle mouse button. And to slide around, you hold down Control in the middle mouse button and you can slide around. So that's how you can reposition your image on the screen. I'm also noticing that there's a little bit of a taper here. So let's see. This part, the hook itself, seems like it's pretty much all the same diameter until maybe right in there. So let's go ahead and extend our shape up to somewhere up there. So let's create some more lines. There to maybe like there. And then something like that down to there. All right, so now we've got this extra line. I'll just select it and delete it so that we don't have that one in there. That looks pretty good. All right, so we will go over here and finish our sketch. And then this third button over here is revolve. Whenever you have a profile, you can revolve it around some number of degrees. We'll go around an entire 360. Our profile is already selected. Our axis will be either that construction line that we made, the vertical one, or just the center line of the shape that we made. That looks pretty much what we want. So let's say OK. And let's go ahead and I made this a kind of sharp angle. Let's make it a little smoother. So we'll go over here to this under the plastic label there. It's not about plastic, it's just under that. Plastic is a whole other set of tools, but we're in the solid tools right now. But under that word is fillet, and we will pick this edge, and we could type a number in, but in this case we're just going to do this by eye, and you can drag this arrow to create more or less fillet. And so I think we need something like that. Okay, let's see if we want to fillet any of these others. Maybe this edge right here could use a fillet. So let's select that edge, fillet, and then just radius it a little bit. There we go. We got a sharp point down there. We could fillet that if we wanted to, but I don't think that's necessary. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. Let's make the hook. Now how we're going to do that is we're going to take that circle and make it follow this path. So let's go to our front view and kind of get zoomed in on the hook, and we need to create a new sketch. So create sketch, and we're going to create on the same plane we've been working on. Zoom out so we can actually get the plane we want. So sketch, there's the one we want. All right. Now this we could do with lines, or there's this curved line called a spline. That's going to make a better curve than the straight line segment. So let's use that. And we kind of need this to start right at the plane here. I'm going to start a little below it and we'll trim it to fit. So we're just going to kind of create some control points. So every time I click, it adds a new little control point. We will probably have to go back and edit those. I'll double click on this one to end it, and then we can move these around. Actually, this one looks like maybe it needs to move a little bit in, but the others are pretty close to the center. They look pretty good. Now we've got one problem down here though. So we need this line to come off of here at a perpendicular angle, and we need it to be in the center. So I should have probably started it right in the middle, but I think what we can do is we could probably go in here and on our sketch that we're working on, so we're on sketch 3, if we go over here, well, let's leave that alone. Let's create a projection of this surface onto this canvas or on the sketch we're working on so that it is selectable. And let's select it and our line here where it is on that line. So there it's on the line, and there's the center of the line. We just need that to come off at a better angle. So let's modify that to where it comes off more at a 90-degree angle. Okay, now we've got our profile. Let's go back to our hook there. So we've got our sweep profile that we're going to sweep this surface through. So we're going to create a sweep. It selected, well, looks like it selected the whole thing. Let's select that surface, and the path we want is that path. Now it shows a preview of what it's going to do. We don't want it to cut though, we want to join a new one. So there must have been a little bit of overlap between something there, so we want to join a new one, not cut out an old one. So that looks pretty good. Let's select OK. And now all that remains is we need this to be more of a rounded shape. You can't really see it on our canvas right now, but the end of the hook was kind of a softer, like a round, so that can just be done with a fillet. So we can go back to fillet on that, and by eye we will just turn it into, oh, right there, a ball end. And there's our hook for trap jaw. That looks pretty good. I think that'll work. So we need to take that into our printer. I'm just going to print this on an FDM printer. In fact, let me see if I have that. There it is right there. I printed it laying flat so that the layer lines, when you go to use the hook, you know, grab it onto something, then instead of wanting to snap across a layer line, it's all of the little layer lines that are printing. You can kind of see them here. They're in the line of which way it would bend, and so it's going to be a little stronger. I did use a organic support here. All this green is the organic support. This is Prusa slicer. I find that's the easier one to remove for these smaller parts. I printed it with a relatively thin layer height, so 0.15 millimeters, and it took 19 minutes. Well, it says it's going to take 19 minutes. It took somewhere in that range. I didn't time it, but something like 19 minutes to print. And let's look and see what we actually got for it to print. So here's trap jaw again, and I did not have any black filament that was going to work for this, so he gets a white hook. But there it is. It's got the little hook. It's got the tab that's going to go into his receiver on his arm, and it's a pretty nice fit. It could be slightly smaller. Maybe you could sand it down if you wanted to, but now he at least has his one hook. He also has a laser gun, or well, freeze ray gun or laser gun. It looks the same and does do different things. So I don't know, in the comics and the cartoons anyway, it does. So I don't know which one it is, but he has that, and he has a little clamp also. Those would be a little bit more difficult to model. This one's the easiest one to model, so it's the first one we're going to do. But a little paint or a little black filament, and now we would at least have a trap jaw that has one of his attachments. So hopefully that was enjoyable and a little interesting. We'll come back next time with something else. See you later.